YouTube, what's going on? YouTube, what is going on? What is happening, man? Of course, it's your guy one more time, DEDRICKHJR, and I'm back with another fragrance video. Smell good, family. Hopefully everyone is doing well, doing great, doing fantastic. Positive energy, positive vibes. Y'all know how we rock out here in this channel, man. Positive vibes only. All right, so today we're gonna kind of tap into a side of many of our minds and yours fragrance journeys where you may have come across something that you just wasn't too sure about, or even hated, or even asked yourself, how could somebody want to smell like this or wear this? And today I have 8 fragrances that I wasn't sold upon my first experiences with it. But that's the beauty of the fragrance journey. My nose has changed tremendously over the past 2 years, and specifically in the last year with the more spicier and darker and leathers and vetivers and patchoulis and incense and just different notes like that. I've really come around to those things, barbershop scents, all of those. So it's been really dope to, you know, document my journey, because honestly in the future, not in the future, right now actually, I watch some of my older videos and I watch some videos from maybe like a year ago, and then some of my videos of the current time frame, and it's amazing. It's amazing, you know, how your journey progresses, and it's cool because I get to document mine. All right, so today we got 8 fragrances that I don't know, bro. That's what the vibe was, but over time I've really come to appreciate them, and dare I say, love them. All right, so let's go ahead and tap into it. Up first, a big moment for me when I got my nose on this for the first time, but now it's one of my favorite rose scents in my collection for sure. From the house of Gucci, we got Gucci Guilty, the EDP. Unique notes of vinegar, balsamic vinegar and salt, rose, yeah, just the vinegar and salt. Chili pepper is in here. But man, is this lovely stuff. Super unique for a designer scent, very classy. Does have its synthetic moments in the opening, but that doesn't bother me. But as this fragrance continues to evolve on skin, that's fresh, spicy, floral tone with that salty nature, it's different. And at first I was like, oh no. Oh no, and it sat on my shelf for quite some time. But then something crazy happened. I started revisiting fragrances that were in my collection that were really in the back of the collection, and this was one of them. And when I got my nose on it, I was in my rose kick. So I had just got like Toy Boy, what's another rose fragrance? I hadn't got like the Signature Rosé, different styles of rose, and this was something that brightened me up when I smelled it after quite some time. So from the house of Gucci, definitely wasn't the biggest fan, but now I am. Gucci Guilty Pour Homme, the EDP. It's just one of those ones for me. Up next, this is the most masculine fragrance in my collection, I believe, and I love this house. I love the artistry and everything that it represents as far as art. And this was one that I had an issue with trying to understand, and I didn't know if it was for me. From the house of Zaharoff, we have Signature Leather Tobacco. Signature Leather Tobacco. Leather Tobacco. And at first I was like, wow, will this just be something that stays in my shelf? I already live in Jacksonville, so it only gets cold enough for something like this a few times out of the year. Believe it or not, we do get some high 20, low 30, high 30 degree days in January and February. So there are opportunities to wear this, but here's the, you know, the beauty of the fragrance journeys, right? I got it in, I was intrigued by it, but I was unsure if it was for me. I set it on the shelf, I acquired it around the summertime, and it's set. And then later on, probably the next year, the weatherman said the 20s was coming. We called it the Hulk was on the way. That Hulk was on the way. That cold air was on the way. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna pull this out and see where I am and see if I'm wanting to wear this the next day. I got my nose on it, I sprayed it on my skin, and it was like a different experience, man, from what I first remembered. That heavy leather, smoky, tobacco nature. There's so many notes in here like honey and cinnamon and different sweeter notes in here to help balance out that leather tobacco bomb, because that's what it is. But I tell you what, if you're searching for masculinity and in the cold air, this is a masterpiece. And I don't say that loosely. This is a masterpiece in the cold air, and it's one of my, this and Amouage's interlude Black Iris, excuse me, the Blue Beast. Those are my two fragrances that I only get to wear maybe once or twice a year. I'll have this bottle for life because I just don't live in that type of climate. I didn't know for a minute, but then as my nose matured and the seasons changed, it just was the perfect match. From the house of Zaharoff. It's not for everyone. It's not, but this is a beautiful leather tobacco fragrance. From the house of Zaharoff, we got Signature Tobacco. It's like that. All right, up next, this is another fragrance that is kind of in the similar vein, and I gotta shout out my dear friend Miss Heather. We did a little swap for this fragrance, and I got my nose on it on paper, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty good. This is something that I'm willing, you know, I want to get in the cold air and see what's up. Came home, put it on my skin, I was like, uh-oh. I don't know if this is gonna work. And what am I talking about? From the house of Virtus Petit. We're talking Silhouette. Don't hear much conversations about Silhouette. All the bottles are the same for Virtus. Well, the majority of them are the same for Virtus. And what this is a dark, patchouli, leathery, like dark fruity tones. It's something different. It's different. Smoky, leathery, patchouli, dark fruits. But there's like a weird freshness to this fragrance as well. And I had it and I was testing it on skin. And I said, you know what? The springtime was here. We were getting ready to roll in the summer, but in the evenings here, it's beautiful. You get a breeze. It's a slight crisp in the air. It's not chilly, but it's a crisp in the air. Crispness in there. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to the grocery. I gotta go to the grocery store. Sun's going down, so I'm gonna spray a couple sprays on just to see. 2 sprays. And I did. Bam, bam. 2 sprays. And in the air, walking around in the grocery store, moving around in my car, walking around just the rest of the evening, going into the night, it just hit different. And this is a fragrance where you gotta wear it. You gotta wear it. You gotta experience it when you gotta get out. You just can't spray it on and sniff, sniff, sniff and think it's something that, you know, you're gonna gravitate towards. At least for me, that I did not. On paper, it hit better initially. On skin, it put me in a state of I don't know. But putting it on and wearing it out and moving around, and I don't spray my fragrances right on my neck. I don't spray right directly in my chest. I kind of go below the chest and my stomach area, you know, behind my head, behind my ears. My fragrance kind of revolves around me instead of suffocating me up front. And that's the beauty of what this fragrance does. It's meant to float and breathe in the air. And I can't wait for it to get cold again because I know it's going to be beautiful in the cold air. So initially on paper, yay. Got home and put it on skin, I don't know. And it was a nice night. And it was one of the best nights of the year as far as the weather and that breeze and that crisp tone in the air. During the spring, and I just said, screw it, I'm gonna test it out, man. I'm not gonna wait until it gets cold to see what I really think. And I really enjoyed the wear, and even smelling it now, I can't wait. So the patchouli in here really shines, leathery, smoky, dark fruity tones, good stuff from the house of Virtus Petit. We have Silhouette. I ain't know at first, but I think I know now. All right. Up next, I'm not the biggest fan of Violet Leaf. I'm just not. I blind bought this fragrance. Hey, what are you gonna do about it? I blind bought this fragrance, and when I got it in, I was like, is that Violet Leaf? And it was. What are we talking about from the house of Mancera? We're talking Oud Blue Notes. Got it in. And I was stumped, man. I didn't know if this was something that was going to be for me because the violet leaf presence. But over time, wearing this with the citruses that are in here, and there's a leather note, like a soft leather note in here as well, it blends really well with the other florals that match the violet leaf in this fragrance. It blended nice. There's a sparkly nature in here, like an ambroxany, sparkly citrus tones in here. And wearing it out, it's really, really nice in the springtime. Wearing it outside and wearing it out and about, I learned to really, really like this fragrance. It became something that was, if I knew I was going to the park, if I was going to shoot some photos or do something in the outside realm, this is my go-to for the last 2 springs. As you can see, I only wear this in the springtime, but you can see the dent on that bottle, and I haven't had this one for that long, and it's there. So with my collection, with that kind of dent, wearing the fragrance, I learned to appreciate it, and it had a purpose in my collection, you know, and violet leaf is just like that for me. But wearing it, the combination of the other notes and the blend of this really allowed me to appreciate it and get a good feel for me wanting to keep this in my collection, because, you know, I can easily get rid of it, trade it, sell it, or give it away as a gift. But it has a purpose, and this purpose is in the springtime when I'm moving out and about in the world. It just smells really, really, really good. It smells springy. That's what it smells like. It smells springy. Springy, yeah. From the house of Mancera, this is one that at first, but now, hey, we have Oud Blue Nose. I'm coming around the violet leaf. I'm coming around to it. I promise you I am. There's some fragrances that really are allowing me to appreciate the note even more. That and mint, those are my 2 for me that are kind of like, eh. All right, up next, I am now head over heels in love with barbershop scents, fougere scents. At first, I always used to say, many years ago, how could somebody want to smell like this? And now I'm like, bro, like, how do you not like fougeres? Or how do you like barbershops? And the journey has allowed me to do that, to feel different, you know what I mean? And this is a fragrance that was truly in the back of my cabinet, and I really forgot about it. I've told this story before. From the house of Lalique, we have L'Intune. Hey, I always butcher the name. This is a unique barbershop style scent. I just want to get that in the air. Now, this one is hard to find these days. As a matter of fact, I only see it online in 50 mLs. Smells good. You get this basil, rummy, lavender freshness, this kind of almost shaven cream type of vibe. This is clean. It's a unique take on the fougere barbershop style because of what that basil and that rum does. And, you know, it has that old school player vibe, but modernized, and that's what the rum comes into play. The basil is the fresh green pop in here, the freshness. I don't even know if lavender is a note here, but there's the freshness from a lavender feel. There's a sweetness to this fragrance as well. This is good. And as you can see, I rediscovered this with never wearing it, just smelling it, put it in the bag. I actually was going to give this away, like literally give this away. And I said, you know what, let me see where I'm at with this, man. Out of the blue, I'm sitting down in front of my cabinet, and, you know, I like to try to not hold on to things that I'm not going to wear. And I thought this was one of them. I sprayed it 2 times on my skin. I said, hold up. Hold up. I remember not wanting anything to do with this fragrance. Like, that was a fact. And what this allowed was more fougeres and barbershops to enter into my collection. That was one of my favorite profiles. So at first, I didn't have an appreciation for it. And this is around my blue phase and my sweet phase, and I still love those fragrances. But stuff like this, I wasn't open enough to try something different. Well, boy, has that changed, because this is one of my favorite fougere style scents, barbershop style scents. Really good, hard to find. There are some 50 mLs floating out there, but it seems like this one is going away, and I'm sad about that. So, but this bottle's gonna last me quite a bit because of the size of my collection, and I'm glad to have it, and I'm so glad I didn't give it away. So at first, it was a big note back of the cabinet, but now, oh yeah, this is one of my favorites, especially during the spring. It just shines during the fall. It just shines in the office. It just shines for sure. From the house of Lalique, we're talking Leninsu, yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right. Up next, admittedly, I got this in. I was like, I don't know, Toomey. I don't know. We got to see what's up, because this is definitely designer niche, like different style of a profile, but it's not like groundbreaking, brand new. But let's get into it and why I was like, and now I'm like, oh yeah. From the house of Toomey, we have 19 Degree. 19 Degree, one of the dopest bottles in my collection, one of the nicest bottles in my collection, that matte black leather feel. It's really, really good. Now, why was I tripping on this? Because the raspberry birchy leather combo in this, the blend was so different right away, and it took me aback when I first smelled it, and I did an initial review on it, and I said in that review, it smells good, but I don't know if it's for me. This might be a little bit too outside of my lane where I'm trying to be with my fragrances in my collection. But at that time, I guess my nose was really transitioning to leathers and spices and incense. My nose was really, I'm talking about like prominent leathers and prominent spices and things like that. Not, you know, soft leathers and spices that get blended in. No, the leather in here is prominent. It's a part of, it's the big part of the DNA, but it was so interesting with that raspberry red fruit feel. I don't know if I could grasp it, so I let it sit. I let it sit for a while actually, and then I picked it back up. Picked it back up because I started smelling and enjoying the leather line from Salvatore Ferragamo, like the red leather, the intense leather, the spicy leather. I started enjoying those. I was at my local dealers and I smelled them like, yo, that's good. So it led me to think about this one. Got home, pulled it out the cabinet, sprayed it on my skin, and I was like, okay, like the appreciation had began for this fragrance. It really has, and now I wear it all the time to the office. I featured it in my office videos, 10 fragrances for the office videos, favorite fragrances to wear to the office. This is a office staple for me. Not saying I wouldn't wear it anywhere else, but it's going to mostly reside in the office because it just fits. I wear my polos, my button downs, my slacks, and my hard bottoms to the office, and this is a type of fragrance that I really want to represent me. Like, this is what the vibe that I'm looking for with this type of fragrance, man. So I've come around to it like a whole way around, but admittedly, I wasn't sure. It doesn't smell bad, but I had never come across something like this. Some people say it's like, you know, it's kind of like how some people say when they smell Creative Vintage for the first time. It was something new. I guess I've heard that story before, but that's not my story, so I don't even know why I wasted your time telling you that. Let's move on. Toomey's 19 Degree. I used to be like, I don't know, but now we're like, oh yeah. All right. Up next, whew, I'm nervous about green-based fragrances. Nervous. I mean, I got to have some citruses. I got to have some woods. I got to have, and this was one that really challenged my thought process with this particular DNA. Fresh, green, and musky with some woodsy tones. Very masculine, very mature style of a fragrance for sure. And I'm a situational fragrance wearer, and this is definitely for the springtime and in the outdoors when you're just moving around with that type of day. And my appreciation has changed from I gotta get rid of this to this ain't going nowhere. From the house of Plume Impressions, we have Eclat de Joy. Eclat de Joy. Green, fresh, musky. There's a dryness from like a cedar wood, I believe it's some type of wood, but I believe it's cedar wood in here. This ain't for everybody. It's classy, it's clean. It's something that you can wear to the office, and I've tested it there. It's something that you can wear if you're outside throughout the day. So case in point, let's say you're just gonna be outside for the day, man. You might be going to the park. You might just be, you know, chilling out with some friends or your love interest or with your kids, and you're just gonna be moving around outside. This is something that can really match that vibe for sure. Why? Because you're out in the elements. It kind of has that No, it has that green nature to it, but the musk in here, the woods in here, there's a slight fruity tinge to this that if you watch your sprays, because this is a beast of a performer, you watch your sprays, maybe 2 or 3, you could definitely get away with this in the office because it's going to give that clean feel, but it's definitely heavy on the green. And coriander note in here is really like, I'm a green thumb. That's what it gives with this fragrance. At first, it was an absolute, I don't think this for me. Documented on the video. You see me in real time saying, hey, yo, like, I ain't dissing it, but it ain't for me. But with time, this has been in my collection for about 6 months now, right in the heart of spring. So I was in the season to really test it and put it to the test. And this is another one where I spray how I spray my fragrances. I get outside in the world and I was able to appreciate it in the atmosphere and how I was maneuvering throughout my day. So this ain't going nowhere. From the House of Plume Impressions, we have Eclat de Joy. Eclat de Joy, all right? And last but not least, I smelled this a while back and said absolutely not, but now it is one of my most worn fragrances in my collection, and the bottle is getting lower and lower and lower and lower. From the House of Hermes, we have Terre d'Hermes, the original EDT. The original EDT. Man. Bitter orange, vetiver, clean, masculine, just really good. At first when I smelled this a while back, I said no, get that away from me. Absolutely not. But over a few years after I initially experienced this, my whole mindset was changed. It smelled different. It smells super good. It lines up with me and who I am, and going to the office king, going out on a nice hot summer day when I'm floating around, the vetiver, the bitter orange, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's crazy how your journey can just change. And this was a part of that. One of my favorites and most worn now. From the House of Hermes, we have Terre d'Hermes, the EDT. EDT. All right, so I know the video ran kind of long, but I had to explain to you guys. I wanted to explain to you guys, talk to you guys about how your fragrance journey is constantly doing this. And all of these fragrances are a great example of, don't give up on your fragrances if you're not sure. Now, if you're sure, get it out of here. But if you're not sure, give it some time. Wear it in certain environments and see if it's something that you can really vibe with. And luckily for me, and that ain't the case with all of the fragrances that I, didn't rock with, but these 8 for sure. All right, so appreciate y'all watching. Thank y'all for the support. Until next time, be cool, be safe, take care of yourselves. You know what it is, baby. Splack it up, splack it down, splack it that thing all around. And remember, what you put out into this world is exactly what you are going to get back. Keep that positive energy up. Keep them positive vibes going. Appreciate y'all, man. Splack 'em. All right, peace.